So this week we're going to start learning how to restrict our rows when we do our select statements. So we learned a little bit about select statements earlier in the course. Now before we get started, so before you do this unit, this is really important. A lot of the exercises that you're going to do in the practical assignment were not going to work unless you run the SQL scripts, right? And also if you're following along in my video here, you won't be able to follow along if you don't have the right scripts. So what you want to do is in Blackboard, when you go into our course, and you might remember this from the beginning of this semester, so when you go into the course, you're going to go to course content on the side over here. So where it says course content, this is where we list all of our, all the folders where we have our course content. When you go into week 1, I know that we're down here all the way in week 10, but when you go into week 1, at the bottom, after all of our user accounts and so forth, at the bottom, there is a file, jldbbuild8.sql, and you're going to have to download the chapter 8 SQL script. So you have to run, and really we're going to have to do this each unit hereafter, right? So chapter 9 we'll have to run this, chapter 10, 11, 12, and so forth. So go ahead and download this one. So I'm just going to click on this one, and I'm going to go to open. You could just click on it too, that would work as well. So it downloads it, right? So here it is. Well, you can't see it because my browser is hiding it, but down here at the bottom, I'm going to show in folder. So let me drag it over here. So you can see in my downloads folder, there it is, right? There's my SQL script. So now in Application Express, I'm going to go to my SQL scripts. We've done this before, but if you don't recall, we're going to go into SQL scripts and we're going to upload our scripts. We're going to click on Upload. Choose my file, and of course I'm going to go to Downloads. Alright, I'm going to call this Chapter 8. You can call it whatever you like though. So I'm going to upload it. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to click on the Run button over here on the right. And we're just going to wait for it. All right, I'm going to run it now. You could run it in the background, but I'm just going to run it now. Can't do anything until it's done anyway. Okay. And it says it completed. It took 1 second, right? It ran pretty quick. So that's done. So, and I could verify if I go into Object Browser, you'll see your objects. The first thing that script does, it drops everything, and then it recreates all of our stuff, and it creates some new data for us. So for example, if I click on Customers in the Object Explorer, we should see, so here's the contents of the table. If I click on Data, you can see we've got some columns here. So for example, with this one, we have a little bit more data to work with now, but you'll notice that a lot of our customers in this list live in Florida. So one of the first things we'll try here, let's go to SQL Commands. So, in that table, I know I have a column called last name, and we also have a column called state, right? So let's say I wanted to show all the last names of all of my customers, where their state is equal to Florida, right? So this should show me all of my customers that live in Florida, and let's see if it works. There we go. So I got 4 customers that live in Florida. So that's pretty straightforward. Now, that's one example of a select statement. It's pretty simple, right? Because that's an equality operator, right? It's just telling me, I'm telling the database, show me any row where that column has that value and is exactly equal to that value. We'll talk about some other things we can do too. So for example, let's say I wanted to, let's look at our books table. Alright, so let's see what we have in our books table. Okay, so here's a bunch of stuff in our books table. So let's say in my books table, I only wanted to show books where the retail, right? So the retail value of the book is more than $55. There we go. So we have 4 books where the retail is greater than 55. And of course, a lot of times we don't want to use the star. We'll do something like this. We'll show just the title and the retail amount, for example. There we go. So now I just see the retail amount and the title of the book for anything over $55. So let's see, what else can we do here? So we're going to do select title and pub ID. If you remember, pub ID is the publisher, right? And if I show all of them, so I'm just going to highlight the top part so it just shows me all of the values. Now I want to show you something real quick too. Even though I didn't select retail, I can show just the title and pub ID from the books table where the retail is greater than 55. That'll still work even though I didn't select that value. So it still restricts the rows. Now I don't see that value here, right? I don't see what the retail is, but I know that that worked, right? Now let's go back. So pub ID, let's say I know that I only want to see where the pub ID, let's see, I want to show everything from 1 to 3. So, you know, what some people will say is, well, let me do where pub ID equals 1 or pub ID equals 2 or pub ID equals 3, right? So 1, 2, or 3. So you could do something like this, and then I'll see 1, 2, and 3, right? But I could also do where pub ID is between 1 and 3. And that's going to show me everything that's pub ID number 2, right? Let's see what it does. There we go. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's the between operator. So that lets you work with, so not only greater than and less than, but we can also do between. You know, and some people like to do, you know, greater than, right, you know, where pub ID is greater than 1 and less than 3, right? You could do something like that as well, but this is probably a little bit easier. As another example, let's say I only wanted to show, you know, these are where I have contiguous pub IDs, but what if they're different numbers? I just happen to know the 4 or 5 numbers that I want to see. I could do where pub ID is in a list. So maybe I want to see pub ID 1, 2, and 5. Right, so now I'm skipping around a little bit. So now I should see 1, 2, and 5. And then there we go. So now I've got 1, 2, and 5. So that's the in operator. And in lets you list various values. I should tell you that the in operator will work with, you know, in the beginning I did where state equals FL, right? In single quotes. I put the string in single quotes, or the varchar in single quotes. You could do the same thing with the in operator. So if it was not an integer, if I wanted to, let's say I had a list of titles for books, I could list those titles in my in statement and just put single quotes around them, and that would work as well. So I could do where, let's see, I'll do this for you just so you can see it, where a title is in, and I can do Revenge of Mickey. And then I'll also do building a car with toothpicks. That sounds ridiculous, but whatever. So that would work too, and that should give me 2 results, right? I only have 2 books. Now, if I had lots of books called Revenge of Mickey, I would see all of those books, which would be unusual, right? Okay, so now here, that brings us to the next one. You know, what if I want to find any book that has or let's do it with name, right? So we've got a whole bunch of different customer names. So let's do star from customers. All right, so here's my customer list. Sorry, this Oracle thing is so slow sometimes. So let's say I only want to see where the customer's last name contains or starts with the letter P, right? So I want to do anything that starts with the letter P. So I do where last name. Now instead of equals, I'm going to use the like operator. This is called a wildcard operator. Now I can't just do like P, right? If I do this, it's not going to find anything, right? It's missing an expression. Instead, you have to put the % sign in here. So if I put the % sign, it's going to say find anything where it's like P and then anything after the P, right? So let's see if that works. Oh, wait a minute. I have an invalid character here. Oh, sorry, my fault. No equal sign, right? It's just like, not equal. So it's not like equal, it's just like. So let me try this again. So where the last name is like P %, right? So it basically is ignoring everything in place of the percentage. It doesn't care what is in place of that % sign. So that's how a like operator works. And by the way, nice thing about a like operator is we can put that percentage anywhere, right? So let's say I do where last name is like, well, let's do n, right? So %n. So now it's showing me any name that ends with the letter N, right? All the last names that have an N on the end. And I can also do it anywhere, right? So if I do %n%, it's going to find any name that contains a letter N. So here's all my last names that have a letter N somewhere in the name. So there's Gianna, right? It's right in the middle. Now likewise, I could do something like this. I could do G%N. And that's going to find any last name. Actually, I'll do A. Right, so that should find Gianna. It's going to find a name that starts with a G, has anything in the middle, and ends with an A. No, it didn't like that. Oh, I had it highlighted. Sorry. It only runs what you have highlighted. You know, it only executes the command that you highlight, which is kind of useful sometimes. But so there it is. It worked. Right. So kind of cool. You can do some interesting stuff with the like operator. All right, so let's see what else we can do. So we can combine different parameters, right? So we don't have to do just one at a time. Let's do an example like that. So we're going to select the title. Oops, sorry, I can't type today. The title, the pub ID, the category from books, where the pub ID is equal to 3, or the category is computer. So this is going to show me all of the books. I spelled category wrong. This is going to show me all of the books in my, all the titles and publish ID and categories in my books table, where either the publisher is 3 or it's a computer book. Not sure exactly why you'd want that, but so there we go. So now it's either publisher ID number 3 or it happens to be a computer book. It can be either one or the other. Okay? All right. Now we can also do and, right? So what I could do is, now see here, pub ID number 2 is a computer book. But what if I only want to see all the computer books for publisher ID number 3? I could do an and operator here. Right? So now it's going to show me both where the publisher ID is 3 and it's a computer book, and that's going to give me 3 results, which we would expect. All right, so what else do we have here? So we'll do one more where we combine a couple different fields. So we're going to do select everything from books, and we'll do where the category is equal to family life. We'll add, we'll do or. Pub ID equals 4, and the cost is greater than 15. Now this is getting a little more complicated because here we're combining both and or logic. Okay? Now I should tell you that when you're combining and or logic, it's going to use order of operations, which you probably remember from 5th grade math. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And the thing about order of operations, it can be a little confusing sometimes. So what I like to do is I like to use parentheses, right? So for example, I can force this to work a different way by saying find all my books where the category is family life, or not only family life, right? So take a look down here. So here we have family life, or I could say the pub ID is 4 and the cost is greater than 15. So I can put parentheses. So then this will evaluate first, then it'll evaluate for family life. And that works. Okay? So you can use the parentheses. I recommend using the parentheses because it takes all the guesswork out of the order of operations, because sometimes it can get a little bit confusing with the order of operations. All right, so let's do some stuff with our orders table. So let's select star from orders. In case you don't remember what's in the orders table, we'll take a quick look at it. All right, so let's say in the orders table we want to get our order number and our ship date. from orders where, let's see, what can we do here? We're going to do where the ship date is null. Right, so this is going to show us all the records where the ship date is null. And I'll tell you why we're going to do this. Because if the ship date is null, it has not shipped yet, right? Although I don't know if we have, there's more than 10 rows. So we should have a few orders that haven't yet shipped, right? So we're going to do show the order number and the ship date where the ship date is null. Oh, sorry, I forgot to hit run. There we go. So I've got, looks like 6 records that have no ship date, right? It's a null value for the ship date, so I know these haven't shipped yet. Okay, so that's how I use the isNull operator. So isNull checks to see if it's null. Let's see what happens if we do equals null, right? So we're going to do where ship date equals null, and in most database engines, this would generate an error. But here in Oracle, you can see it just does no data found. So usually, if you're working with nulls, you either want isNull or is not null, right? So I can do where ship date is not null, and that's going to show me all the orders that have shipped because the ship date is not null. There we go, right? So we have, well, more than 10 rows. So we got a whole bunch of orders that already shipped. Okay, by the way, it's only showing me 10 rows because I have this set. I can change the row count so we can see all of them. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste the command for you here so I don't have to type it. So with this command, we're going to select some records from customers where their state is either Florida or California, right, because of that in operator. Now we're going to add one more thing that we haven't talked about yet, which is sorting, right? We're going to sort our records by the state and then by city. Okay, so when you use an order by, the order by is going to, if you add the DESC keyword, it's going to make it descending. If you don't put DESC, it's going to be ascending. Right, so what should happen is it should be first ordered by state. So we should see we'll see Florida and then California, and then it's going to be in alphabetical order by city. And let's see what it does. Okay, and you can see here we have our Floridas all at the top. It's descending. That's why California is not on the top. It's starting from the lowest value from the highest value down to the lowest value. FL is a higher value than CA. And then if you look at the last name, the city, it is in order by city. So Claremont comes before East Point, and then Miami, then Tallahassee, right? So it's in the correct order. Okay, so that's an order by clause. So we ordered it both by the state and the city at the same time, and we changed the order, right? We have one descending order, and the other one is in ascending order. So that's how you can change the order of the records. Okay, and another way to do this, I'm just going to copy and paste this. So this is another way that we can do this, just a different syntax. And if you look, it did exactly the same thing, right? Even though here I have 3 and 4, not the actual names of the columns. But if you look, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 3 and then 4. I prefer the other way. Myself, because it's a little less ambiguous and it makes a lot more sense when you're looking at code when you can see the names. It's a little bit easier to do it this way, when you're typing it, but it's a little less ambiguous. Plus, this doesn't work in most other database engines, so it's good to get in the habit of doing things in the way that works in most other database engines. So that's how you can do some sorting. So in this unit, I showed you how to restrict records by using the where clause. We talked, I showed you some different operators. We looked at in, between, greater than, less than, and then of course equal. The isNull operator, which is a special way to deal with nulls. You can look for things that are null or are not null. And then I showed you how to order your records with the order by clause, and you can mix and match which columns. Most of the time we only order by one column, right? So if I do something like this, it's only going to order it by the one column. And likewise, if I get rid of descending, then California is going to be at the top of the list, right? There we go. So now California is on the top. So that's it. So that's this week's lesson, basically selecting records and adding that where clause so we can see how to filter our records. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.